On Wisconsin, the Badgers are 2-0. Let's go. It was a dominating performance. We're going to talk about it. 10-point win over Stanford. We're going to talk about kind of what we saw. A player that I think really stepped up, why this defense is so versatile, and one of the issues I still have with the offense. We're going to talk about all that and more on today's Locked On Badgers, reacting to the big win over the Stanford Cardinal on the basketball court. That's basketball field, I guess. All that and more on today's Locked On Badgers. Let's go.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Locked On Badgers. I'm your host, Ryan Herrings. This is your team every single day. That's what we do here on Locked On. Today's show is brought to you by our good friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code Locked On, and get your first deposit doubled up to $100. If you're joining the show, I really appreciate it. Leave some comments. Let me know what you thought of the game. We're going to bring Rajiv on. I think we had a couple other people, potentially Scott, coming in. I want to start here. I want to start with this segment, and this is live reaction. So Rajiv and I have nothing planned, but I do have a segment I want to start with. It's called Out on the Limb. I want to go out on the limb on a couple things after two games. I know it's too early, but I've got a couple that I want to plant my flag. You guys, you ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's hear what you got.
All right. The first one is this defense is better than we thought it would be, and it's going to be the most consistent part of this team.
Okay. I mean, I feel like that's a fair point. I mean, I think that I agree there's a lot of versatility, and I think there's some speed on defense, which is kind of nice too. There's quickness, there's versatility, and I like it. Tell me why. Why do you what are you seeing out there?
Yeah, so the really interesting thing with this defense that I love is it's you hit the word versatile. I'm going to use the word long. So when you were able to put Wahl out there, you're able to put Davis out there, Neath out there. Yeah, even Chucky Hepburn's not long, but he's really strong. All these players can switch, so everything on the perimeter gets gummed up. Even against players that are a little bit bigger, you're able to really muck up action, switch everything, and it creates a lot of difficulty for teams to get much going, to get out of their actions. And then Tyler Wahl is a werewolf defensively. Him and Hepburn are just, their energy is contagious. He can guard all over the court. They have incredible IQ and awareness. And it just gives them all these opportunities when you're able to, gum up the other team's actions because you can switch just about everything. It allows those two to kind of roam a little bit and really create some issues. So I just think the depth on the wing, the ability to switch 1 through 4 with multiple players, and the toughness and versatility, and quite frankly, Tyler Wahl is like a defensive ace. All that coming together, I love this defensive unit.
Yeah, and I think I like the way that I don't have the stats in front of me yet, but I mean the forcing of the turnovers. What do they have? Like 20 some turnovers tonight? I mean, it had to
16.
be high.
16.
I mean, really love the forcing turnovers, taking risks, denying the basketball. I mean, it's really good. It's basketball. It's defense 101, but they're doing it well. They're playing really hard. They're giving a lot of effort. Which I mean, I feel like Wisconsin always gives a lot of effort on the defensive end, but this does feel like we're pressuring the ball a little more. We're playing a little bit higher up. We're not just sitting back in too much of a shell. I feel like I'm seeing a little bit more of that. But yeah, I was also very pleased defensively.
Well, and I thought the commentators let Wisconsin or didn't give Wisconsin enough credit is what I'm trying to say. They continue, and listen, Stanford missed some open shots. So did Wisconsin, but Stanford missed a lot of tough shots too. The commenters just kept saying, Stanford was right there. They just couldn't put it in. They just couldn't score. Stanford was 1 of 16 from 3. A big part of that was, to your point, the defensive pressure from Wisconsin. They were all over the court. And eventually, when you do that, it speeds up clocks. Like for those who have been involved in that, like if you get pressured the entire game, if you get, you're always trying to get that shot. When you get an open one, your clock is sped up. Your rhythm is off. So even the open ones are impacted by the defensive pressure throughout the course of the game, which I thought the Badgers did an exemplary job of. That's my first one. My second one, because I'm already seeing the chatter, is Sejan should start. No, I'm going out on a limb. Listen, he should not start because he is the perfect spark plug off the bench.
Yeah. I wish I was waiting for Justin to just be on here and talk about how much he loves it. And the minutes, I don't have the stats up, but the minutes he had to have had way over 12 tonight. The over and under is, but I would say to Justin that the over-under of 12 is only applicable when Klessman is not in the kind of foul trouble he was in tonight. But
see, 23
minutes. Wow. Like, listen, I agree. Spark plug off the bench. if you bring him into the starting lineup, he's going to have a little more pressure on him. I think let him watch the game from the bench. Get a lay of what's going on out there. He can watch what Klesmit's doing, watch what Davis is doing, and kind of figure out where his rhythm can be. I was really impressed with him tonight. We talked about it after the South Dakota game, and he's not afraid to take shots. He's not afraid at all. And I like that he stepped into inside the 3-point line and hit just a couple mid-range jumpers. Didn't make them, but he's quick. He's smart. He's got good basketball IQ. You can see him moving around. You can see him finding the right holes, making some cuts. Yeah, look, I'm a believer. I think he's going to be a stud. And, really his shot is just so pure.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. There's no reason to bring him right now. He's a freshman. Like, let him just get into this season, maybe down the line potentially. But right now, I agree. Spark plug, someone that can kind of figure out where he fits in, get a lay of the game, come in, attack.
Yep. And Mark, I see you in the queue. We're going to get you on next. Got some comments, a few comments we got to get to. The other thing with Essegian coming off the bench, like, I like him playing almost starters minutes, but off the bench, right? So I want him really involved. But when you have him in a lineup with Hepburn, who's ball dominant and shoots, and Tyler Wahl is a ball dominant, there was a run in the second half when he was coming off the bench with a lot of the second unit, when they were almost letting him run some of the offense and get some of those mid-range looks. Mm-hmm. I love that. Like, I think he really comes in and gives you some of that punch off the bench, where when some of the other primary scorers are resting, or they're not on the floor, or he's playing with Wahl, but Hepburn's gone. That's where I love him, and I think he can get a lot of minutes and reps that way, but you don't necessarily need him with the starting unit right now. Mark, let's get you on the show if you're there. Appreciate you dialing in, man. Not your first time. What's going on?
I'm doing good. Good win tonight, even though it wasn't very pretty in the second half. It wasn't pretty in the second half, but I'll take it.
What was your big takeaway?
Jordan Davis had a good game, I thought.
Yeah, Rajiv.
Yeah, I think Jordan Davis did have a good game. I like that. I think his strength is when he's aggressive and he's making cuts. He had a couple really good cuts today. I still worry about his confidence shooting. He's just not quite there yet. And I think the more he gets layups, the more he's cutting into the basket. He's, being more aggressive on the boards. He will gain that confidence. But I still am waiting to just see him. Look, I'm glad he scored a lot of points tonight. It's good. He was a big contributor, but I still think he's missing some confidence. And I think the more he continues to play well, the more he continues to get his numbers in different ways. Attacking, not just sitting behind the line. I think he'll improve, but yeah, I'm not quite sold on what I'm seeing from him yet.
Anything else, Mark, that you saw that surprised you maybe?
Not really. I mean, not really. So just overall, they could have played better in the second half, but like I said, I'll take the win.
Yeah, I thought the second half, and Mark, thank you so much for dialing in, man. I hope you continue to do
welcome.
So. The Davis take is really good. I had that written down in my notes. I have a little note and this is my next kind of out on a limb thing, and I don't mean this to be overly harsh, but it's a Gilmore and a Davis and kind of a Neath thing. I think they just need to be very crystal clear on kind of offensively what the role is. Like, I don't think Carter Gilmore should be driving in and taking a mid-range jumper at this point. Yeah. There was one where he shot off the backboard. Listen, bad shots happen. I'm not crushing him at all, but on that opportunity, he was kicked out to him. He had an open three. Like that, if you got to just hit that open three for Carter Gilmore in that situation, in my opinion. Like, you're on the floor. I know you can shoot because the coaches have said you can. Last year was tough, but I think that playing off the move, Davis took a tough three. Neath, those players have to hit open threes, or I kind of think it has to be kind of junk plays, second chance plays, hustle plays.
Yeah. I thought the offense was really interesting tonight. And to me, it was kind of a tale of two halves. I really loved the movement that we were getting offensively in the first half. Look, they're a very long team. They were pressuring the ball a lot. And I loved that. One of the things that annoys me the most about Wisconsin's offense is late shot clock stagnation. Give the ball to Chucky at the top. Everyone just get away and just stand there. That drives me crazy. It's every time I watch, I'm like, somebody move. There's no reason we can't just run another play. Run a set play with 10 seconds left on the clock. But in the second half, we were doing more of that. There was a time where Chucky was full on ISO. He gets the shot blocked. I'm like, listen, we can do better than that. And Chucky I thought Chucky played really well tonight. I'm not trying to bag on him, but I don't like that about We've done that a lot in the last few years. I don't want to see us stop playing with 10 seconds left and just run an ISO play. There's no reason to do that. Keep your offense going. Now in the first half, you saw people cutting to the basket. You saw tons of screens, people cutting around the baseline, down screens, back screens. It was just really nice to see because the ball was moving, the people were moving, and we were getting layups. We were getting inside. They are a big team. And a lot of credit goes to Tyler Wahl for what he did today. But I mean, I just don't want to see that stagnation. Second half, we saw that. And that's kind of when you saw Stanford get back in the game, and there's just no need for it. We played really, really well in the first half, but I was really not happy with the second half offense because I just felt like we got away from the things we did in the first half. We got away from just posting up and then maybe some kicking out from there. It just didn't look as flowing as the first half did. And I was really impressed with what I saw in the first half. I don't know if you kind of agree with the two halves, but I just didn't like what I saw the second half.
Yeah, I think Stanford made some adjustments in the second half as well. I did think that the first half the ball moved quicker. It just moved a little quicker. I thought the tempo was a little quicker. We certainly came up the court a little quicker. There were points in the second half where Stanford extended their pressure. Came out in a 1-2-1-1 full court press, or they extended just their man-to-man pressure outside the 3-point line. That gummed us up a little bit. I thought I want to get into something with that coming out of the break because there was a point where Hepburn's off the court and Lindsey's running the offense, and I'm kind of like, I thought this is why we brought Kamari
McGee. Yeah,
and I don't understand what the world is happening right now. I want to talk about that coming up next. Then Jared, Mason, Zach, Mike, I see all you guys. We're going to get to all your stuff as well, 100%. But I definitely want to talk about some of the peculiarities of this game coming up next on today's Locked On Badgers. But first, today's show is brought to you, as always, by our good friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest way to spice up your college football season. You can play this while you're watching the games, while you're getting frustrated or happy with whatever Bobby Ingram is calling offensively. You can get into the Underdog Fantasy app. Mike does this on our Discord all the time. Parlay 2 to 5 players and really have fun with it. You can do that, set it, and still watch your games. Doesn't take a ton of time. It's incredibly easy to do. Legal and available in over 30 states, and their user help, the customer forum and customer support on their site is awesome. If you have any questions, they hook you up, get you ready to go. Incredibly easy. Like I said, win cold hard cash after one day. No more waiting for the year to end. And we have a great offer for you. Sign up with the promo code Locked On. That's one word. And Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Deposit $100, get $100 for free. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Find the Underdog Fantasy app in the App Store or the Google Play Store. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code Locked On. Get in on the college football pick'em action today. All right, let's bring Rajiv back on. Jared, I want to bring you in. You've been in the queue for a minute. What's going on, man? Thank you for calling in.
Of course. How's it going, guys?
It's good, man. 2-0.
You can't beat it, man. But I think we said it last year, but if Crowell continues to get in foul trouble, it's gonna be tough, especially when we get into Big Ten. We're playing Purdue. We got Big Edie down there. Like if he's off the court, it looks like we got Gilmore as our backup 5. So that to me is the big glaring issue that I saw from this game is the foul trouble that he gets into sometimes.
No, that's a good point. There was a couple opportunities where up his feet a little bit, not as much as he does. He's got to just stay grounded. He can't pick up cheap fouls. It's a really good point.
Mm-hmm. You saw that last foul. There was no need for it. They give up an and one right there with all the momentum. They were ready to go up on the bus and go back to California. But they let them kind of stay into it like that. So that was one thing that I really had. Klesmet, I mean, he's going to take a little adjusting too, but him getting in foul trouble allowed Essegian to get in there and show us what he got.
Right. Everybody's on. This is the Essegian Power Hour. I love it. The one thing with Klesmet that's interesting to me is I love. So he got in foul trouble and he's got to clean it up. But I love the aggressiveness he plays with. Like he's got to clean it up and he's got to be a little more consistent. I think he just fits. One of the questions people always have with transfers: how are they going to fit into the culture? How are they going to fit into the team? He fits right into like this gritty, hardworking, get after it culture.
Oh yeah,
stepping right into that Davison role.
For sure.
Anything else? Any other big surprises? Anything else that caught your eye?
We're 2-0. We can't beat it. Keep it going.
Love it, man. Jared, thank you so much for calling in. I hope you keep doing it.
All right, we'll do. Take care, guys.
All right, later.
It is nice to see that we're 2-0. It's good. And listen, it's early, but a lot of stuff. But it's just we're shooting the ball better. I feel like we did get into one of those Wisconsin ugly stretches of bad offense for like 8 minutes or something in the second half, and that's going to happen. But we have the guys now that can get us out of that, which
A little better.
a little better, and I think that there's really no reason they can't do that. So I like the versatility that we have in general, and I feel like we'll be able to get ourselves out of some jams. So yeah, really nice to see the 2-0 though. I mean, look, there's no reason to not be happy about what we're seeing.
Can I tell you my last out on the
Oh,
limb?
please do.
And again, these are 2 games in, incredibly early sample style. I have a couple people who get frustrated with my impulsive takes. So I can already see those people firing up the Twitter bots, right? And can come after me. But this team is going to have, in every game against a decent to high quality team, or decent high quality defense that they play, is going to have like a 7 or 8 minute stretch where they basically don't score. Because coming out of the first game, one of my concerns was I think we're going to struggle getting easy buckets. Like, because even Hepburn creates a lot of space in the sense of he creates space for a mid-range jumper really well. He's able to use his body. He gets in front of somebody and puts his hip on him, but he's not creating space for really easy layups. Tyler Wahl isn't really doing that either. Like, a lot of his looks are post-up looks, which aren't as efficient as really clean layups. A lot of our open threes are off kickouts, but threes aren't layups. You know what? My point is, like, I think we still are going to struggle getting those easy shots at the rim, which generate free throws, which generate dunks, because I think there's going to be a slump-heavy team at times offensively.
Yeah, totally agree with you. I mean, I feel like that's been the Wisconsin MO for years, is to have this stretch of a lack of offense. But like I said, I still think what I've liked so far in sort of combating that a little bit is, like, today, early in the first half, Wall got a lot of post looks. And I love that. I've always loved that about our offense. Get the ball in the post, even get the guards down there. I just want to see that, because, look, either you might pick up a foul, you might, some like a cheap foul, you might get an easy kick out, maybe you get a layup, maybe you can make a move, maybe you get someone cutting in off the weak side. So I think that as long as we can keep doing that, I think we're going to see some improvement. I do expect there to be an improvement on the number of long stretches where we don't have good offense. So I disagree with you a little bit there, because of the weapons that we brought in, because I do think Klesmit has the ability to score when he wants, when he can. I think a CJN can do that. I think maybe we haven't really seen McGee, but I'm hoping that McGee can kind of be another one of those guys. And with Crowell being able to really step out, and Wall made a 3 tonight, which was nice. I do think we've added some firepower when it comes to offense. So I'm hoping that we're not going to see some of those long stretches. But I agree with you. They're still going to be there, and we have to fight through them. We have to play strong defensively. We're still going to have to be a team that doesn't turn the ball over a lot, because that's what's going to keep us in a lot of those games when we're struggling offensively. But I do see optimism. I do feel like we can see a little bit of potential for that to change.
Well, the defense carried it today. Like, throughout that entire second half, the defense was just all over it. The first half, the defense was all over it. I want to throw this comment in here from Jared. I don't know if it's the same Jared or not, but this was, got him short of the bench. Strange that Lindsey played more than Kamari. And that's kind of what I was in the second half when I saw that stretch. So Kamari played 2 minutes, and I don't know, potentially got banged up, but I didn't see it. I haven't seen anything on that. But Lindsey can't handle that type of pressure. I mean, you saw the offense basically grind to a halt with Chucky Hepburn off the floor. It felt weird that those weren't Kamari minutes. It's just something to keep an eye on. I don't know. It was weird to me.
Yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on. We'll have to find out next week if it's something that maybe he just had a bad week of practice. Maybe he's just not, doing his best right now. But yeah, he needs to be the backup, and I hope he is.
It could be. Listen, Stanford's big, Kamari's small. I mean, that's Captain Obvious.
They are really big. Good Lord.
That's high level analyzing right there, right? Stanford big, Kamari small. And it could have been as simple as defensively, Greg Gard didn't like that matchup. But offensively, Stanford you can tell they scouted it out. As soon as Lindsey came to the game, they ratcheted up their pressure, and we just weren't able to get anything going. Jared, thank you so much for the comment, man. Let's get Mike Boz comment in here. Pleased about the win. Shooting was down. Not surprised to the venue's tough background. Yeah, I think some of it, I don't know how much that played into it. Certainly it could have. I think some of it was Stanford is long. They're tough. They really guard out on the perimeter. It was 2 good defensive teams with length.
But I still think we did okay to combat their length. I mean, we played okay. We scored. I think we did. I mean, 32 points in the first half is always, to me, that's always okay when we're playing, given what we've seen in the past. So, yeah, definitely not the best offensive performance. But I think, given the fact that we were playing a team that seemed like every player was over 6'9", I mean, we did okay.
They had like 9 block shots is what they finished with, 8 or 9 block shots. I mean, that's a tough team. Tough team with a lot of returning players, by the way. It's an experienced team. So it's a really good win. Wisconsin was, I believe, a 3-point favorite. So winning by 10 is obviously a pretty good one. Coming up next, we have several more comments to get to, and I want to touch on a couple maybe different ways that you could use Tyler Wahl or Chucky Hepburn. Just some last kind of thoughts on this game. I want to get into that next, plus some user questions or listener questions. That's coming up on Locked On Badgers. First, today's show is brought to you by our good friends over at Simply Safe. Simply Safe is something I use. If you've thought about securing your home with home security, but you've been putting it off, you're going to want to listen up. Right now, Locked On Badgers listeners can order the #1 rated Simply Safe home security system for 50% off, half off. You're not going to beat that. Biggest offer of the year. You don't want to miss it. I've told you why I love it. I use it. I promise y'all I use it. I got it on windows and doors. It helps protect my family. And that's it. Like, nothing's more important than that. All right. It protects the people that matter to me when I have to go on a business trip or work trip. It gives peace of mind to me and to my wife. We have it on doors, windows. It's incredibly easy to install. It's not expensive. And as soon as someone opens a door or a window, even if it's my kid going out into the front yard, now we hear them go out because we hear the chime in the house. We set the alarm, 24/7 alarm monitoring with professionals. It's a great system, and it's something that I use all the time. Don't miss your chance to save big on the only security system I recommend. Get 50% off any Simply Safe system at simplysafe.com/lockedonbadgers. Or I'm sorry, simplysafe.com/lockedoncollege. It's the biggest discount of the year, so don't wait. Simplysafe.com/lockedoncollege. There's no safe like Simply Safe. I want to thank everybody again for tuning in. Everybody that's listening live, I'm excited. I love basketball. I love Badgers basketball. We're 2-0. I'm bringing Rajiv back on, who I know has that same type of mindset. And we had a lot of questions coming into this year, a lot of which still need to be answered, but we're starting to slowly kind of get answers. I wanted to kick it to Rajiv because I've been talking a lot here. I wanted to kick it to you. Have any questions that you weren't sure of have they started to crystallize in your head? Are you feeling better about any of those?
Yeah. So the first thing I kind of mentioned a little bit after the first game was Chucky Hepburn's growth. I really want to see. He has got to take a big step this year, and I think we're seeing that. He's being aggressive. He's not afraid to kind of take things over a little bit. He's not afraid to shoot, which we've always seen, but his leadership is there. And I also wanted to see Tyler Wahl obviously just start to dominate because he has that ability, and I think we've seen that too. We've seen. We've seen that he's also not afraid to. I love that when he posts up, and I love that he's shooting threes, not because he's going to make a lot, but because he's not afraid to take them. The questions that I still have are: look, I like Crowell. I think he's fantastic, but I want to see him, like I think one of the callers said earlier, not stupid fouls. He does that too much, so he needs to clean that up. Jordan Davis is still a question mark for me. I want to see his growth, and like I said, he had a great game. I'm not trying to take that away. He absolutely had a good game. He was aggressive. I still want to see his shot get a little better. I want to see kind of what can he really be the starting three, or do we need to have Klessman and a CGN start down the line? Not now. But yeah, I mean, I think that, and another thing that I like is the movement on offense. I think that we've seen a little bit of a change. I like that. I like that we're switching things up a little bit, but I do not want to see late shot clock stagnation. I hate it. And every time it happens, I'm going to come on this show and I'm going to talk about it because it really irks me. And I hope that we stop doing it. But we'll see how that goes.
And, that's something we've done for so long, too. Going back to, Jordan Taylor did it and Bronson Koenig did it, and Dimitri Trice did it, right? That's what they all did. And it's just been, I think that was just a staple of this program for whatever reason. It's always frustrated me as well.
Yeah.
I want to get a couple more listener comments in here. Let's see, Mason Sonzella. And again, if I mispronounce that, I apologize. Getting the win against a much more experienced team, a team with much more size, while not shooting the ball well, is nice to see. We also finally saw Jordan Davis have his breakout game. Mason, really appreciate the comment. Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing that we did occasionally last year, right? Getting wins against good teams without shooting the ball well.
Mm-hmm.
And we attributed a lot of that to the Johnny Davis effect, right? He would just take over. Well, this was more of a cumulative. contributions from several different players. But we're going to have to win ugly occasionally. So, yeah, Mason, thank you for the comment. I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, defense was obviously played a big part in that. Now, obviously, they shot. I just pulled up my stats. 6% they shot from three. My gosh, like that. We can't. The Big Ten teams aren't going to do that.
No, and Stanford's not going to do that often either.
Right.
Like that's. I mentioned earlier that the commentators weren't necessarily giving Wisconsin as much credit as I thought they should have for the defense. They played on those misses, but Stanford also just missed some open shots. Good teams don't shoot 6%.
I'm curious to get your thoughts, Ryan, on Graham. Graham put up a comment in here about
let's put it up.
the rotation.
Absolutely.
I think it's a good one, and I think it's fun to start kind of talking about this now. It's been a couple games. I think we've talked about how I feel like it's going to be an 8-man rotation. It's always 8, maybe 9. But who do you think? I mean, so who's getting left out, right? So who's not going to be as we progress down the next couple games? Who do you think is out of this rotation?
I love this question. I think it's going to be around 9. I do think this team's a little deeper. Some of the guys that got minutes tonight, Hodges isn't going to get minutes every night. So you can probably leave him off. Isaac Lindsey's probably on the outside looking in, I would say. So let's just start. You got the 5 starters. They're going to keep getting minutes, even if things shuffle around a little bit. Essegian is obviously – he was the first one off the bench today. Now, some of that was Klesman getting foul trouble. But he's getting minutes. Neath is getting minutes. The coaching staff obviously likes him. So you're at 7. And then I think it's pretty clear, at least in the beginning parts of the season, that they believe Gilmore is going to be part of that rotation and is a guy that at least helps move the ball and is an extension of what they want to do in the court. So you're at 8. And then I still got to believe Kamari McGee has a role on this team as a backup point guard. So that's my 9. And I think Hodges will play situationally. Corral gets hurt, gets in foul trouble. But aside from that, I think there's your 9.
Yeah, I agree. I would say obviously Essegian definitely first one off the bench. I think Gilmore they like him, but I think he does have some room to grow. I like Gilmore. I think he's got good attributes that I feel like should be able to grow throughout the year. Neath, yes, I still think that Neath offensively just to me is such a liability out there that he's a good defender. He's a good defender. I'm not trying to take that away, but I do believe that he's like going to be the 9th guy in my rotation. I'm not saying he's like that now. I get that. I know that he's in there and he's 2nd or 3rd off the bench. I think as games go forward, you might see him drop down a little bit because I think McGee, I'm hoping that he is like 1st or 2nd off the bench. That's where I really feel like McGee and Essegian 1-2 kind of coming in. Neath obviously and Gilmore's going to have some length, but so I agree that the 9, but I do think that Neath kind of falls down towards the bottom of that. And I may be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong because I want him to do well, but I just don't see him really getting traction and growing into the team like I do the other 3.
The Neath is interesting. Neath and Gilmore are probably a little bit like this as well. There's players that coaches like more than fans. Like that fans, or maybe a better way to put it is fans don't understand why coaches like them so much.
Right.
Neath is kind of in that category. Gilmore has kind of been in that category. The Neath thing is weird to me because, there was a play in the first half. Connor Essegian had to just drop the dime to him in the middle of the court, right underneath the hoop. And, he just kind of fumbled it around and took like 5 seconds and then tried to do a reverse pivot off balance layup. And it's just like offensively, he lacks feel, which I think makes it difficult to your point. I could see him falling down a little bit, but I just think he gives you a little bit more defensively and athletically than kind of like Gilmore.
Yeah.
Which I think is his trump card. Gilmore, to me, I slightly disagree with you. If I had to say one of them kind of drops off, I think it's Gilmore, which we saw last year. Like the thing with Gilmore, who, by the way, reshaped his body, he looks great.
Yeah.
He definitely, he definitely put in work in the offseason, and he's absolutely someone I'm rooting for. Sometimes when people hear guys say, or people talking about the game say, I don't think he should play as much, it's not an attack on the dude. He is, walked onto the program. He is everything I want to cheer for as a fan. Like, I hope he absolutely crushes it. But he can't take a 15-footer and bang it off the backboard, right? Yeah. And then get a couple bad fouls and then turn the ball over. And then, he's a great connector. Obviously, the coaches trust him to be in the right spot, but he's got to hit open threes. You have to hit open threes if you're a role player in college basketball at this level. So we haven't seen him be able to do it yet. And that's my holdup with Gilmore is I think he probably shoots it well. He's probably one of those dudes that shoots it well in practice. But at some point that light has to come on in the game, or I think we'll see his
does.
minutes taper off again like we did last year.
It does, and it does. The other thing I would say about that is we talked about this before the season started, was that if a CGN was going to work his way into that rotation, he had to come out swinging early and make him hurt. And guess what? He did that. I mean, he's clearly established himself in that lineup, which I think is great. It's great to see that. I mean, he's so fearless. So yeah, I think we're in agreement, and I think we're also in agreement that McGee, we expect him to play more. I mean, I think tonight was a bit of an anomaly. We'll see how that goes, but I want him to play more. He's fast, he's quick, he's got experience, playing at another program. So I expect him to really be in there as well. I want Hodges. I want him to be better. I want him to play more, because I know that we're going to need that protection in the bigs, because there's going to be games where he's going to be forced to play because of foul trouble. We don't have Voigt anymore. So I want him to get – I was actually excited to see him come in there today, and I was like, all right, let's see some Hodges, because I want to see him do well, and I want him to develop. And I think that especially with a big like that, he needs playing time to really kind of get the feel of this game. So I'm hoping that he can work his way in there. I know that most people are kind of cold on him right now, or don't expect him to contribute offensively much, and I necessarily don't either, but we're going to need him. There's going to be games like the Purdue game. We're going to need more bigs. So he's going to have to work his way in there.
He had a nice offensive rebound. It's going to be those effort things when he comes in for 5 minutes. If he can get 2 rebounds, a block, and even pick up a couple good fouls, right? The type of fouls that, by the way, I want to wrap up here because it's starting to get a little long. I thought the second half from the ref standpoint was a little wonky. I really liked how they were calling the game for the most part. It was physical, but they were really letting dudes play. It felt a little like a 1990s basketball game. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of physicality there. I actually really liked it. So yeah, we're gonna need Hodges for sure, because to your point, there's gonna be games where Crowell gets in foul trouble, or he's just gonna be hurt and he's gonna miss a week because it's basketball, it's sports.
Yeah, no doubt.
I have one more thing on a Segan, and then I want to kick it over to you if you have any last thoughts. And we have one more comment we want to talk about here. The thing I really like about Connor, he took 9 shots today. Not a single shot felt like a bad shot.
Yep.
Every single shot felt like it was in rhythm to a spot where he had a good feel, where he had a good look, where he created space, where he was decisive. Whereas, listen, I'm not hating on, but Jordan Davis took a horrendous 3. Right? Mm-hmm. Like Chucky Hepburn took a couple bad shots. Jacoby Neath, Carter Gilmore took a couple shots where you felt like they were out of his comfort zone. Every shot Connor took, every single one of them felt like it was purposeful. He knew exactly where he wanted to get. He created space and had a good look. I'm telling you right now, the players that can create them good looks for themselves and remain comfortable all over the court, those are the dudes that end up averaging 15 points a game.
Yeah, I like your take a lot, especially about the part about how every shot of his looked good. You're right. I mean, it's not only did he take good shots, he gets into the right position so that all of his shots are high percentage, and not necessarily high percentage, but good shots that you're comfortable with him taking. He has such a sweet stroke too, and it's just so pure. It's just so nice to watch. I always like when we have that guy on the team that can just be the 3-point specialist. And he's going to be that 3-point specialist for several years, and it's great. My kind of final takes on this, I just feel like I see a lot of optimism in what we're doing. I see a lot more weapons, potential weapons. I'm not saying we have a bunch of scorers, but we have people that when we are in a rut, we can turn to different guys to see kind of if they can get a feel, if they can get their shot going. And I think, therefore, I don't see any reason why we can't be as successful as we were last year. Yes, I know we lost Johnny Davis and Brad Davison, but we have people that can get this job done. And I think defensively, we're very strong. We're just going to be a little bit deeper. And yeah, I mean, I'm super excited. It's super early. I get it. But to be 2-0, to see the performances being strong, shooting in the first game way better. Yes. And we'll just kind of see how this bench continues to work their way in, the rotation. There's nothing but excitement though. Right. I mean, we want to be 2-0. We want to see this. By the way, venue at Miller Park. I mean, that's awesome. I think it was really cool. I loved I didn't like the way that the Jumbotron was shining onto the court. It was so annoying to watch that, but yeah, great. love to see it. Love everything about what we saw today. Excited to see this team grow. And again, see who can step up. Who's going to really, is the CGN going to keep growing in? Is he going to be a starter? We'll find out.
Yeah, 100%. Those are really good takes. A couple more quick comments came in. Kyle Bliss, all your comments didn't come in here, but basically, Crowell looked really good. Do you think Connor makes a starting rotation this year? We kind of talked about Connor in a rotation right away in the first segment. No, I think we both said no, but we said no because we think, and kind of Rizzy talking for you here, but I know we talked about it, that he can just be an impact player off the bench. He can be that sixth man and just come in and throw bombs. So that's where we're there. Alien Space, Stanford is 1 of 16 from 3.
6%. I mean, that's
really bad. Some of that's, listen, I'd say it's, again, that's not all Wisconsin's defense, but a lot of it is Wisconsin's defense. And a lot of that is when your defense is strong, it speeds up your clock. So even open shots start getting a little helter-skelter. But yeah, some of that's just Stanford shot the ball really poorly. No doubt about it. Yeah. And another one from Alien Space, Wahl looks better than last year. Yeah. I mean, he banged that 3. I made the comment in the Discord, if he's hitting a 3 or 2 a game, he's an all-American level player.
Yeah.
Period. Like, I have no doubts about that. Defensively, he checks every other box.
I mean, he's like a Swiss Army knife, right? He's just one of these guys that can do it all. He's taken leadership roles. He's, as far as off the court, on the court, I love when he posts up. I love when he's not afraid to shoot. I think he's just got great moves on the baseline. He's not afraid to take big guys on. He knows how to work his body to draw fouls. I wish he shot the free throws better. I feel like today the free throw shooting was a little rough, but
yeah,
he was 4th of 8. So,
4 of 8. Oh,
4 of 8. Yeah. But yeah, listen, Tyler Wahl he's a beast. And he if we're going to be successful, if we're going to compete for the Big Ten or even be in the top 4 again, which we will, he has to be good. He and Chucky have to be great, and a good start.
We're going to finish up on this comment from the Candy Man. How did Connor Segan do? Played in high school with him. Wasn't able to watch tonight. Oh man! So if you missed, we love Connor, by the way, especially Justin, who's not on the show today. But he did okay. But obviously he was decisive. He had 8 points, hit a couple threes. Really, really solid offensive game and a lot of scrappy plays as well. Made a couple really nice defensive plays. So we're very excited for him, man. If you ever get a second, jump on the show at some point. Talk about what it was like playing against him in high school. That'd be a lot of fun. We're gonna wrap up there. Really appreciate everybody tuning in. There's 40-something people watching right now, plus a bunch of people in the comments. Mark and Jared also jumped in the queue. Rajiv is always great insight. We like having Rajiv on the show as much as possible. Oop, almost brought someone else in this show. And with that, on Wisconsin, we're going to keep talking to y'all. Iowa tomorrow. Y'all know we go live after the Iowa game. I mean, it's going to be ugly, probably, right? Take the under is what I would say, but I can't wait to do it. We're going to talk to all y'all tomorrow on Wisconsin. And Rajiv, man, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you.